Yo, 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 guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with another live match preview. Apologies that it's late. I know obviously quite a few people are doing streams as now, especially because it's Champions League. I just didn't have any time. I was supposed to go live at about 6, but I've just been so busy with work. So this is just going to be a brief live match preview. If you want to get involved, just remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter and X and smash the notification button for latest Manchester United news. Or you can watch when we're not live. But yes, this is our Manchester United versus Real Madrid live match review, obviously live from Old Trafford. Manchester United are obviously going 4-0 up into this game, and we've got the advantage. We've got a very, very big advantage going into this game. It's like the title says, play the youth. Play the youth, play the youth, play the youth. That's what I would do, play the youth. I don't really see any reason to not. Yes, there is a possible chance that Manchester United could concede 4 goals just like that. They could, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I think that this is a great opportunity to actually play the youth, and I'll go into what I feel that the formation should be in a second, who should play. But before we get into it, I just want to have a quick look at obviously the Europa League so far. So I'm just going to sort of share this because I think it's quite important for people to realize what's been going on in the league as we speak. Shout out to Rasmus. Thank you Rasmus, for tuning in, buddy. I know this is quite late, and I haven't shared or done anything, so I just need to get it out of the way. And just give my thoughts basically. So, but thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate people tuning into these shows and keeping up with my hectic regime. So thanks, Rasmus. You've been a long time member as well, so I appreciate it, buddy. So this is the Europa League right now. Obviously, this is the round of 32 and compared to the round of 16 in the Champions League. As you can see, some of Manchester United's most likely future components. So Dynamo Kiev, Club Brugge 1-1. Obviously, we played Club Brugge before last season. Solid side, difficult side. AC Milan, Red Star Belgrade 2-2. You still expect AC Milan to get through, but they were 2-0 down, I think, at one point. So you don't know really. Then I'm just going down here. Zenit, Zagreb, Krandos, expect Zagreb to go through. Olympiacos are probably fine. Obviously, that's us. We're through. Spurs did play today, and they're through against this RZ Pellets guys. So Spurs are through. Leicester 0-0. That's going to be interesting tomorrow. Leicester obviously playing at home. You'd expect them to be able to finish off the job, but that's not over. Roma 2-0. Roma probably through in that case. Bayern, Young Boys, Leverkusen. This was a game that surprised me, to be honest. Young Boys, they're not a bad side, but I thought Leverkusen would probably give a better. They were at one point, I think, 3-0 down. Then they came back to make it 3-3, and then they Young Boys scored the 4th goal. So that was what that was there. Benfica 1, Arsenal 1 is obviously very interesting. Arsenal obviously got the away goal. However, this does make it quite difficult for Arsenal. We know that their home form isn't particularly good. Benfica obviously are a tough team. Villarreal 2, Salzburg. You expect Villarreal to be through. Napoli. This wasn't Granada 2, Napoli 0. Again, surprised me. Lille 1, Ajax 2, quite close, but you expect Ajax to go through. Shakhtar Donetsk through. Hoffenheim, Molde 3-3. Very interesting, although obviously 3 away goals for Hoffenheim, although Molde were again ahead. And Rangers 4, Royal Antwerp 3 again, but you expect Rangers to go through. So I go for all these just to give you a flavour as to what the competition is right now. And obviously, let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think Manchester United's chances are of winning this competition? Because we're in a situation where now, and I think that's why this weekend, next 2 games for Manchester United are quite important, especially this weekend against Chelsea. We're doing our Chelsea preview later. But, beating Chelsea is very, very important regarding Manchester United, or certainly not losing. But I think it's very important regarding Manchester United's top 4 chances. Very, very important. because quite frankly, if we lose, Chelsea will be 3 points behind us. If we win, we're 9 points ahead of Chelsea and already 9 points ahead of Liverpool. And bearing in mind that the week after, Liverpool are playing Chelsea. So to be honest, for me, if we get the dub over Chelsea, I'm fairly confident that we've got top 4 secure. I'm fairly confident we've got top 4 secure because we'll already be 9 points ahead of Liverpool. You expect Liverpool to beat Sheffield as well, or you'd expect them to. Whether they will or not is another matter. And so the Liverpool-Chelsea game will be very interesting because one of those teams is probably going to lose. And at the end of it, it will mean that presumably United will be between 9 to 12 points clear of that team with, how many games have we, I think we played 25 games. Just double check. Premier League, how many games did we play? Game week. Yeah, 25 games. So basically, after the next 2 games, there's only going to be just 10 games basically left this season. So will United drop between 9 to 12 points and then some for like the Liverpool and Chelsea to catch up? I don't think so. So that's why I think that winning against Chelsea is very, very important. And because of that, we can then potentially think about getting a trophy, i.e. the FA Cup or the Europa League. With the teams that left in Europa League, we've got a shot. And I certainly think they're one of the strongest teams when all our team is fit. However, and this is basically going into the starting, the prediction lineup, the issue obviously for Manchester United right now is that we have a lot of injuries. We have a lot of injuries. It's a big thing right now that we have a lot of injuries. And Cavani and Van der Beek and McTominay are not training. Pogba's obviously he's touched grass, but he's not really got involved. So, we're about basically half, for all the talk about Van der Beek and stuff like that, this would have been the time. But he's got himself injured. Play Van der Beek, play Van der Beek, play Van der Beek. This would have been the time for Van der Beek to basically to get involved. Unfortunately, he's not going to be because he's injured. So we are stuck to the bare bones of our midfield, which is Bruno, Matic, and Fred, because Pogba, McTominay, and Van der Beek are all injured. So we have no choice. So even going into the starting lineup, I know that this midfield picks itself. I don't know really of any young youth players that can really come into play this midfield. The only thing I would say is that to give Bruno rest for the weekend, I know he might not necessarily want it, but we have to rest Bruno Fernandes. We have to rest Bruno Fernandes. And so as a result, I would play Mata in the number 10 position. That's what I do. Get him out, get him some game time, play him in the number 10 position. That's probably the best, in my opinion, it's the best. It's the best thing to do. And then obviously Fred, sorry, I put Fred and McTominay. It's not McTominay, it should be Fred and Matic. Got that wrong. Sorry, it should actually be Matic. That should be there, not McTominay. So it's actually Fred and Matic because McTominay, as I said, is injured. So that midfield is pretty much there. He should rest. He should be resting Bruno for Chelsea because we are already through. That's basically how it should be. Bell828 says, if Man U wins Europa League, do you think Ollie will get a new contract? Yes, I do. I do. I think that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer secures top 4 and wins a trophy, I have a feeling that he will get a new contract. I do. I know they're still waiting about it, and I think it's good that they're waiting until the end of the season because, there is an argument that if he gets 4th but no silverware, do you give him a new contract? I don't know. But fundamentally for me, I think that him getting, say, 2nd and getting a trophy shows progress. And so I could understand why I deserve a new contract. But what I would say to the board is there's no point in giving a new contract to a new manager that you're not prepared to back. So if you're going to just give him a new contract and then turn around and say to him, actually, we're not going to give you any players during the summer transfer window, for me, that's a problem, But yeah, going back to the predicted 11, Henderson for me obviously goes in goal. I think that's where I would start with him. Henderson in goal. Then as I said in this title, play the youth, play the youth, play the youth. So I would actually bring in Brandon Williams. I play Brandon Williams at right back, actually, because he's right-footed, he can play there. So I'd play him there. I'd give Wan-Bissaka a break. Then you can put in Eric Bay and Twansibi if you want to. I think that could work. So because we know that Lindelof and Maguire are going to play the weekend, I'd like it if Bay was playing, but we know that's not going to be the case. So you might as well play Bay and Twansibi there. Give Twansibi on, build his confidence up. I think it's good. And Bay and Twansibi played together before against Watford and were perfectly fine. So I think this is a good game. You know, Twansibi's had a lot of criticism, and I think that putting him in a game like this will be good. Get a good win underneath his belt, and that should hopefully help with his confidence. That's what I would say. I think that'd be very, very helpful, and I think that's why he should play. So yeah, buying Twansibi. Williams, I said a right back. Telles, obviously, it's a no starter. He's got to be playing in our Europa League games as well. You know, there should be no debate. Luke Shaw should get a rest for the weekend. You're seeing a trend here. Obviously, Henderson is in goal. So essentially, you pretty much almost rest the entire back four, back five. There really shouldn't be anyone, you know, anyone who's going to start against Chelsea in this back five. I think that back five is still good enough to be able to face Sociedad. You know, out of all those five, maybe Williams might be an issue. But to be honest, he's better, in my opinion, playing on the right than he's on the left because he's at least more right-footed. That's what I would say anyway. Telles is fine. Twansibi and Bay a rock-solid centre-backs with pace. You know, that should not be an issue. Obviously, Fred and Matic is the key. Because McTominay, unfortunately, is injured. Oh, Mo has a... Mo Wada says, how real do you think that selection is? I'm guessing Maguire, Bruno, and Rashford will start. I think it's 80% realistic. And the thing is, and the reason why I say that is because we're at home. If we were away, maybe I'd have an issue, but we're at home, the players are there, and in the Europa League, you have a bench of like of 8 players, and you can make 5 subs. So I don't really. A part of me thinks Solskjaer will play it safe, and I think that's wrong because we need the players to rest. However, we can make 5 subs in the Europa League. We can make 5 subs. So the thing is, this defense is probably going to. I don't think this here is going to be the issue. I think Twansibi and Bay is strong enough. Telles is probably fine, but you can make 5 subs. So you can say, right, okay, Luke Shaw comes in, and then Bruno comes in for Mata, and then Rashford maybe comes in for, say, James, for example. That's 3 subs, and suddenly you've got 3 if you need. You know, so there's not really any real excuse, in my opinion, as to why you can't start a team like this when we're at home. There's 8 subs on the bench. You can use 5, and we're 4-0 up. We shouldn't have to play any of our strongest players, and I hope Ollie doesn't, because we need them fit against Chelsea. A Chelsea side that are now quite confident, having beaten Atletico Madrid. So we need these players rested so they can go up and play, because we're going to be going into that game, to be quite frank. If it was possible, I would rest Fred and Matic, but we can't because we have no other midfield options. And that actually worries me, because we're going to be going into that Chelsea game with Matic, who barely plays. Well, not barely plays, but finds it difficult to play over and over again because he's just not got the legs anymore. And then Fred, obviously, who's got good tenacity, but lacks the creativity, you know. And we're hearing that Van der Beek and McTominay and Cavani are not in training, you know, so that is a worry. So I'm hoping for some positive news come the weekend, so we at least have a midfielder like McTominay. But, you know, so far, not so good. Is McTominay injured? Yeah. So I've been repeating that. I apologize. Yeah, it should be Matic, not McTominay, in that midfield. As youth midfielder, Ethan Galbraith in the squad tomorrow. Will like him and Matic and pivot and get rest for Fred and Scott for Chelsea. I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair. I mean, Ollie could be brave and do that. I would be very surprised if he did. But I would respect him if he did. We are 4-0 up. The reality is that Sociedad need to score 5 to beat us, and that's obviously assuming that we don't reply, we don't score ourselves. I think that this certainly at least the centre back pairing and the front 4 are good enough to cause Sociedad problems. So even if you put in Ethan Galbraith instead of say Fred, for example, this front 3 of Diallo, Mata, James, and Greenwood should be enough. I think that Sociedad, this is not going to be like the first leg where, they're going to drop deep. If Sociedad are going to have any chance in this game, they need to come at us. They need to basically give us space, come out, play a lot more positive. And because of that, I think we're going to have a lot more space. And that's why likes of James and Diallo are quick, can run into that. Daniel James can obviously cause problems. Either James or Greenwood. I don't know which player Ollie's going to pick on the weekend, but I suspect he's going to go over front 3 of Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. That's what I would suspect. I could be wrong. He might go Martial, James, and Rashford, but I suspect he'll go with that. In which case, whoever's either playing should at least maybe get a bit of a rest. But James is obviously on the left. Greenwood's up top. I think it'd be really good to actually try Bruno as a number 9 for once, because that's where I think that Greenwood's natural position is. And then basically take things from there. So, yeah, guys. What are my score predictions? I don't know is my perfect answer. I still think that we've got a good enough team here to beat Sociedad, but it's not like I expect even us to. Well, I expect us to win. I expect us not to concede 4 goals. Let's put it that way. I expect us to not concede 4 goals because, that's the most important reason why I think that I'm confident is if this centre back pairing starts. That's the key. I don't think this centre back pairing concedes 5 goals. Even if you change all the team, I don't think this centre back pairing with this keeper concedes 5 goals. I don't think that happens. Especially you've got Tellez playing as well there. This is a strong 4. Williams, okay, but he's at least playing on his better position. And then obviously you have that in front. So, with the way that Sociedad played, with the whole passing, they need to be more direct. And if they're more direct, we've got to have the advantage in terms of going forward. I certainly agree. Mo says, what would you pick Daniel James for the Chelsea game? No, because I don't think that Chelsea are going to give us a lot of space. Well, they might. Chelsea might give us a bit more space. I don't know. The thing with Daniel James is that Daniel James needs space. He needs space to run into. And I don't know whether, you play against a Chelsea side that are quite compact, that are going to play 3 at the back, whether that's wise. I personally would you have to play Greenwood on the right, Martial as the number 9, and then Rashford at left back. That's the best of a bad bunch. Cavani's obviously not. I don't think looks like he's going to be fit. So for me, that's the best front 3 that you play, because Rashford is probably better on the left than Martial is currently. And the relationship between him and Luke Shaw is doing well, and that should be maintained. Greenwood. The only issue on the other right side is that Greenwood's is not really a right winger, and defensively leaves Wan-Bissaka exposed. So you could argue that Daniel James might go ahead instead of Greenwood on the right wing, because Daniel James is certainly a lot better defensively than Greenwood is. It's just that his decision making is not as good. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I would suspect that Ollie looks like he's going to favour Daniel James more over Greenwood right now for some reason. That's my 2 cents. So what are my score predictions for this game? Fundamentally, I'm going to go, especially with all those changes, I'm probably going to go 2-1 to Manchester United. I think the most important thing, is that Diallo has to start. Diallo has to start, and we spent £37 million on a young player who hasn't started yet. He came on for about, I think 5-10 minutes against us before, and he looked good. Got involved. He needs to start this game. He needs to start this game. We need to see. I don't see why he can't get a full 90 minutes. To be honest, that centre back pairing is good enough. So Diallo needs to start, because all it takes is one really, really good performance, and then suddenly you now have a viable option. We've been pleading, begging for a right winger, and Diallo is, and that's why I put him on the right winger. If Diallo has a good game at right wing, then suddenly you're now considering him as an option coming into the first team, to be honest, because United desperately need a good right winger. And if suddenly now you can say, right, Diallo plays on the right, he goes in, Rashford's there, and then Cavani, Martial, suddenly, you've got depth, you've got balance, and we can go forward. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, remember for you to channel to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Mo Wada says predicts 3-1 Greenwood brace and Ahmad. I hope so, buddy. I want to see Greenwood and Diallo. I want to see the United youth go for this game, take it by the scruff of the neck, and really go. And you look at it here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Manchester United youth academy players, which says a lot about Manchester United's academy, that we can field for all the criticism that United Ole and Borso to get. It says a lot that we can potentially field 5 Manchester United academy players where most other teams couldn't even field 1. So respect. Anyway, guys, remember if you're new to the channel to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for our Chelsea preview. We are going to have Hope and hopefully Abdullahi on, where we're going to have some good banter on who we think is going to go into this game. It's going to be Saturday at 8 o'clock. Stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for our post-match reaction after the game tomorrow. Have a nice day, everyone, and cheers.